Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkeys Outdoors. Conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game. Welcome back to another episode of Tree Talking Time. I know it's early. This is weird. I know if you're tuning in, that this is dropping on Sunday, and I know usually I drop on Tuesdays. That is for a very good reason. That is because right now, if you head to treetalking.com, everything on the site is 10% off. And so with every purchase, you will automatically be entered to win a free copy of Joseph Krantz's audiobook, The Last Coon Hunter. So make sure you get over there to treetalking.com and buy something by December 4th. It's when the sale ends. And without further ado, here's this week's podcast. I don't normally start with intros, but we will today. So I am here with Mr. and Mrs. Full Cry, a.k.a. Jason and Danny Doobie. And definitely want to get an update on Full Cry. While I know a lot about it, just because I talked to Jason a good bit and Danny, but obviously the listeners probably don't get to know as much as I do on a normal basis.
You're on the inside circle.
Well, I might have got my arm twisted really far behind me to commit to some things that I never planned on doing.
I know you're now like a contributing writer consistently.
Bonafide.
Something like that.
I mean, you haven't started until this next one, but,
Yes.
but you're going to be a contributing writer consistently.
I have an article about half written for it.
Perfect.
You're halfway there, brother.
Yeah.
Halfway there.
You're farther than I am on my next one. I got 2 in the bank that I got to get done that are going to be like fun to write. I'm excited. Just finding the time.
Oh, and then over the next week, as I'm doing some traveling, I should be generating quite a bit more content for articles, and so. But
that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we're like a year into doing this now, and we're starting to hit a stride of consistent writers and getting more clubs on board, and we've got that Full Cry Gives Back program now with the clubs, and I think that's kind of helping out there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for what next year holds and what we're going to bring in. I'm going to have some more consistent articles with you, and I've got so you're going to be doing. Do you want to say what you're doing? You can explain what you're doing.
Yeah, squirrel dogs, cur dogs, feist. Kind of some of the stuff that was in the old Full Cry that has kind of been missing. Which I am one of the people that got Full Cry before that you guys bought it, and so I was used to the basically a cur dog magazine is what it basically was, and so I have missed a lot of that content, and through no fault of your own, I know I have reached out to quite a few people and tried to get some more consistent stuff, but people just didn't contribute it, so that's how I somehow got wrangled into.
I think at the end of the last ownership and the transition to ours, it was a good transition for a lot of people to say, hey, I'm retiring, and
mm-hmm.
We had some retirement there and not a lot of volunteers in that department behind it, but we've got some good people coming through. I mean, you're going to start, and then GT Howell with this December issue is starting an entire series, and so it's going to be the whole next year. It's a fictional story broken into 7 parts because of the December issue. There's 6 more behind it, about basically a young boy who meets a cur guy, and the story of what he learns from the guy, and as a young kid growing up with a mentor, and kind of some fictional historical old school.
Fictional and historical.
Yeah.
Fictional or historical. That's how most history is, anyways. It should be a fun little series behind that. That's
Awesome.
a Cur Dog based series.
Look forward to it.
And then we'll see where we go from there. And then, for my blue tick people, we've got Mr. Ormiston is going to start writing for me consistently there too. So we got some blue tick stuff coming in, and then add with that everything else that we've got coming here and there. I think there's some good things coming in this next year.
Yeah. No, I'm excited.
It is. I'll say it is sad because when we first took over, like a lot of the Cur and Squirrel Dog content came in, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Handwritten
letters. I'd just tune out for the day and type them up, and then we got the last letter, and it said, "I will no longer, continue to write." These guys were in their 80s
or no older,
yeah, and it was, like, that was kind of sad, to get in at the tail end of like almost a generation. It seems like,
yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, really cool to see us making the next several generations.
Yeah.
Like, really, it's such a multi-generational thing now that it's, well, I was talking with Elijah Keller over at Michigan Bear Hunters, and he's a super active guy, and he's our age. He's got a family, but like he told me, he says, you're hitting something for the older generation, the guys like us. It's our time to step up and do our part so that we can help that next generation who are also fired up about it. It's a very unique place to be, and I feel like we're very fortunate to be here because if anything, we get to touch the lives of a lot of different houndsmen in some aspect.
Yeah.
And, hopefully it's valuable to people. We hope that it brings some laughter, some information, or at least make you think about it. Let's say I read an article. I don't agree with one word of it. I can go through and think why I don't, but it's provoking that thought. And I don't know, it's not an instant gratification to me. Like, I feel like the content in it, especially with some of the writers that have agreed to stay on and contribute regularly, they're guys with knowledge, and things that they want to share freely, which is, I think, really valuable in today's world. We need to be listening to it,
especially when everything's behind a paywall, a subscription.
Yeah. That's the hardest part, it's lost. There's so much out there that, it gets buried in a matter of, let's say, 2 months. You get 2 full cries. Like, you got 10,000 social media posts in between. I love hearing the stories from the guys that are like, yeah, it takes me, some of them will sit there and binge read it. Some of them, it takes me 3 weeks to get through it. But it's because they're dedicating and that, they're really engaging in it. So I get to hear a lot more of that than Danny does. Yeah. Because she's just doing all the hard work and I get a lot of the credit that I do not deserve.
Some of the funnest things for me that we've had in this last year have been talking to guys and then being able to go dig back because I'm trying to get the archives all up for people to access for free. That's been really cool to be able to put that out there for content for people to access. But then I'm reading through these old vintage articles. I mean, I've got some going back to like the 60s, and I'll find things from guys that like are still subscribers or have talked to me about this. And I'm like, hey, there's this and this. That is so cool. Because now I know about your very first bear tree when you were 17 years old, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty cool.
Dick Ray.
Yeah.
Use Dick Ray for an example in this last issue. So there's one coming out. When are you releasing this? I don't know, but the December issue will be out.
The October-November issue, it was lion heavy. Yes. I know it was lion heavy. I don't hunt lions either, but I felt really pulled to make sure that we put our line in the sand and put our stance out there of what we thought should be happening in the world with what was happening in Colorado.
Yeah. No, I thought it was great.
I made the executive decision that we were going to go real lion heavy there, which I've been really trying not to do, but here we were. So, and I think it was for a very good purpose, because for so much of the legislation aspect of it is we're pouncing on the science behind hound hunting and the numbers behind hound hunting and those types of things, legislation, but very rarely do we get to show houndsmen as warm humans, which is something that the magazine can do that most other aspects couldn't. So it was really important to me that we did that this last issue. And so one of the things we did was that Dick Ray article, we pulled that out of a 1990s Full Cry.
Yeah.
There was that trophy lion hunt one, and it was so cool to get to work with him again, because he sent me some more information. It was followed up. If you go back to that issue, there was his old article about the trophy lion hunt, and then it was followed right behind it with an article he did on Teddy Roosevelt's lion who held the record prior. And so it was nice to get to work with him, and it was just cool to like revive some of that and give it a fresh eye.
Yeah.
And that's the things you don't get with social media is it's going to get buried and you're never going to find it again. Like with the magazine, we can go dig out a story of somebody's hunt from 40 years ago and we can take a new look at it and it can have a powerful impact again. So that was really fun to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really weird. Like, it because Tree Talking Media and, a lot of us are good buddies in the media world for hounds, I would say. Like closer than most would probably expect.
Yeah.
But when you own a piece of media and for me, I guess it's different when you look at journalism. Like, I don't feel like real journalism happens a lot in today's world.
No.
But these feel-good stories, they truly are journalistic pieces because they're true and they're looking back into our people, like those of us that have participated or been part of hound sports for generations. We own the resources, we have the outlet, and we have the support of people who also see a value in what we do and preserving that, at whatever capacity that is. It's really interesting, and it's just a different perspective, I think. But I'm the deep thinker on a lot of that. Danny gets it all done, and I'm like, no, this fills a hole personally, I think, because it's such a close subject to our hearts, and it's been such a huge part in our lives and who we are as people and where we are in this world.
You guys are all saps on the inside is what I've learned since I started taking submissions. I'm like,
it's true.
Look at all of you guys and your emotions.
It is true. I swear. But you know what? I will say this. I'll give you a perfect segue. What is the quote line from your book?
What? Oh, my dedication?
The dedication line.
So I wrote that children's book. And I thought, well, if I'm writing a children's book, I better put my dedication to my children in it. And so the dedication says something along the lines of follow your hounds in your heart. So both lead you to places you never knew existed.
Yes.
That's true.
That is true. That's good. I like that. So what is your book called?
On the Trail, a coon hunting tale. And so it's definitely for little kids. It's not really a real riveting story.
So you're saying that this is a houndsman approved.
It is. Anybody who's past kindergarten should be able to read it. But it is very much, I wanted it to have a very nostalgic feel to it. So it was very calculated in how we approached the assembly of it and the illustrations. There is some old 1950s stories. One of them is called The Biggest Bear, and there's this really detailed sketches, black and white pencil sketches. So it feels like an old book in that aspect. The story itself, it's just a real simple sound book, very much like squish, squish, whoosh, whoosh, those types of things, so that it will appeal to little kids. That's what my goal was. I was writing for my kids, my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But the feel of it feels. The illustrator did a way better job than I
she did so great. Jennifer did a killer job.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The drawings in it are beautiful. So
I might have got to see some of those, and I have to agree.
Yeah.
Do you know the illustrator, Ben?
No,
Have you met Jennifer?
You just showed them to me at Autumn Oaks.
She's a cur dog lady too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Like, yeah, she even worked up. Didn't she do a new logo for us with a cur dog instead of a blue tick?
So I had her. I had her draw me out a couple different big game animals to swap out with the raccoon on our logo, so I could do some fun little stuff with that.
Those new stickers.
So she sent me a bonus where she took my hound dog and she turned it into a cur dog. So watch for that coming at some point.
Definitely gonna be one of those.
Yeah, that one isn't finished yet, but there's more to come down the line. But yeah, she sent me a cur dog one. It's very cool. But she
did great.
Her illustrations are talented. So all the new sketches that you'll see on some of those fun little big game stickers that we just did and stuff, she did those for us also. But yeah, she's really talented. The drawings in it are really what makes the book more than anything. But the story in it, it's really simple. It's about a little boy going hunting with his dad. And just the whole experience of going out from a kid's perspective.
Yeah.
The adventure aspect at a children's scale.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's going to happen, what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
There's this sense of father, like, okay, I'm the deep one. Father-son bonding, like the kid handling the equipment and the dogs and the pride that associates with that. And, it's true to a houndsman's persona, I would say. The pride and the biggest moments in the book are the ones you stand back. I know you do with your kids. I know I do with my kids. And, it's super cute story.
But those will start shipping. They're on their way to me now, so they'll start shipping from here. People that pre-ordered next week, so everybody will have them in time for Christmas too.
Awesome.
Except Ben.
Ben doesn't get his.
Ben's kids get there. Don't worry.
And they get a sticker pack.
Yeah.
They will be wrapped under the tree. Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well.
Yeah, no, it's a really cute little story. In the end, I think the way I ended the story is they end up leaving it in the tree and going home.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on purpose. I told Jason people are going to think I'm
woke.
Thank you. I was like, can I say that? I was like, can I say it? People are going to think I'm woke because I left it in the tree. But the purpose of that is that I wanted the focus to be on the little boy and his dad's relationship with the dogs, not on anything else. Like that is the whole point of the story, is the relationship that it builds between family and kids when they go hunting.
No, I understand that. And, I agree with that. And I had a conversation recently with somebody kind of like the whole hunting dynamics and talking about it on social media and what we post. And we had this kind of heated, I don't want to say an argument, but the kind of debate back and forth. Granted, it was over social media. It was like in a private message, but me and him were going back and forth. And it's somebody I've never met, but I've, talked back and forth through like messages and stuff. And he was saying we shouldn't hide. And I was like, I don't think we should hide either, but sometimes there's things that we should be focusing on the things that we should highlight. The killing of game is not the highlight. And, or there was a video posted of a hound catching a bear on the ground and it just didn't look good. I mean, luckily the hound was okay. The bear kind of rolled the hound and then took off, but it was just like, it doesn't look good for hound hunting. And that's kind of what it all started from. And I'm like, we need to focus on the positive things. And and how we can promote this sport in a positive way. And those types of instances, or like like killing the raccoon out of the tree, like that's just not the highlight. That's not the.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where, I mean, we could have this conversation 1,000 times amongst ourselves and, random people on Facebook. There's a difference in hiding and a difference in being silent and a difference in being far too out there.
Yeah.
I think if this story was written for a fur hunter, yeah, the coon would have died in the end. This is written for kids, and with us and our different perspective of having young children, our kids are just so happy to go. That is the focus. And that's what was just driving the book.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's like, we've had advertisers we've talked to, and they won't advertise because we do put dead game in the magazine. Well, there's a place for that, and it's tasteful, and like it's out there. But if people, I think sometimes we do things because we can, not because we should.
Yeah.
And we should probably check that.
And I think sometimes we're like almost trying to make a point of it. Like, oh, see, this is how it is. This is how it is. I'm going to do it because I can do it. And that's not right either. I mean, in the end, if we're real honest with each other in today's world, none of us are hunting for fur trade. None of us are hunting for meat. Those are all secondary benefits, but we're all trying to fulfill something much deeper in ourselves.
Yeah.
If it was for me, we'd all be going.
We'd be starving, man.
But I mean, it's a lot cheaper to go buy whatever is on sale at Safeway than it is to go out if we're hunting for meat.
$800 black.
So that's not why we're doing it. None of us. That is not why any of us are doing it. We all might have a different why. Some of us see the fulfillment with the dogs. Some of us enjoy being out, the grounding that we might get in the wood, being in the woods.
Or it's a livelihood for guides and outfitters.
It might be a livelihood for guides and outfitters, but none of us are doing it for meat and hides. Like that's not the purpose. That is our secondary benefit in all of this. And so, highlighting what the personal fulfillment is to people, I think, is such an important part in having people understand our perspective of that.
Yeah.
In today's world.
Exactly.
I know, I'm an author.
Oh, man.
You took your son hunting for the first time I saw.
Yeah, so I took Carter, my 4-year-old, for the first time this year. His brother and my wife, they went to my nephew's football game, and we just knew Carter wasn't going to do well going to a football game. He wouldn't want to sit there and, watching the football game is just not his, So we're like, why are we going to beat our head against the wall? So I was like, I'll just keep him. No big deal. You guys go. And he was all bummed that he wasn't going. And my wife was like, Carter, you and Dad are going to do something fun. She had no idea what I had planned. I already had it planned in my head.
That'll figure it out, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, she was like, I was just saying it to get him to, calm down. But, so sure
We're
enough,
parents, we understand.
Exactly. So I was like, they left, and I was like, you want to go hunting tonight? And his eyes got huge, and he's like, yeah. And mind you, Carter, like I said, he's 4, very much afraid of the dark, not a huge dog person. He'll go out to my kennels with me. He prefers to stand outside the dog kennels. Sometimes he'll come in. He's not his brother. His brother has been in the thick of it since he was really little and been much more, wanting to go, wanting to be involved. Carter's not that, he's not there, which is fine. They're different. And, but so that's why I just haven't pushed it with him. Charlie went when he was 3, I think, for the first time. So like I said, Carter's a year later here, but, I said, do you want to go? And he said, yeah. So I was like, all right. And so we loaded up and went to the one spot I hunt. It's a farm. They have trails cut around because they drive 4-wheelers and side-by-sides around the place. And so it's real easy walking. It's even like the thicker stuff. Like you can get through it not too bad. Where some of the places I hunt are not kid friendly. So this is kind of like my kid friendly place that I typically take the kids. And so we went, and we started out good when he could see Rio, and then once Rio disappeared and we heard crunching of leaves, and at one point he was like, "Can we go back to the truck?" And I'm like, "Absolutely," as we walked away from it.
We're gonna hunt our way back to the truck.
Exactly. We're just gonna hunt this way, which is not technically the way back to the truck, but we'll get there eventually.
I was gonna say, you get there eventually. It ain't flat, man. You'll go all the way around.
Yeah. But eventually Rio made a tree. The funniest part is I thought he lied, which, you know, I've told people on here, I've got a cull coon dog, and he's got a little bit of a bad habit, especially if he's been laid up about slick treeing, and I thought he slick treed, and I whipped him off of it, and then tried to send him on, and then I backed up, and I just happened to catch eyes up there after the fact, and I was like, I feel like a jerk. And at the same point,
sorry about that, buddy.
my kid's like done, and he wants to see me shoot a coon. So I got Rio back on it, and I was like, "All right, you did good. I screwed up."
My bad.
Yeah, exactly. So Carter was all fired up to see me shoot the coon out. I didn't know how he was going to take it, but he did really well. And once it hit the ground, he walked over and was all excited, you know, because Rio was all worked up, and he was proud of it, quote unquote, his dog at that point. And I just laughed. I'm like, you want nothing to do with that dog most of the time, but now you do.
My stories change.
Yeah, right. We still do that as grown men. What are you talking about?
And he wasn't, the whole time was wanting to go, wanting to leave. And once we got that coon, it was all like fired up, and it was really just a whole attitude shift. So it was really funny.
That's awesome.
That's fun, man.
Got a bunch of ticks all over him. I was like, I don't know what you did differently than I did, but I was picking ticks all off of him.
That's the worst. I hate ticks, man. The worst when we were at a competition hunt in California. Were you there with me that night? I don't think you were. It was me, and it was Liz Boland, and Tiny Santana, and I think Jason Benton. We went down, we were casting dogs, and we must have walked through a nest, and we were riding in my truck. Dude, like millions.
I don't do that.
Millions.
I would have been out that window. I freak. I scream like a little girl every time I find one. I'm a pretty tough lady. I do not do ticks. No, that's a no-go for me.
I just think it's funny. Like, my wife's kind of the same way. She does not like ticks, and I'm like, I just pick them off and kill them. It's not a big deal to me. But she gets all squeamish. But
I find one on the kids' back for kids. I'm like, sorry, you got to wait till your dad gets home. Sorry about that. Sorry about that Lyme disease being transmitted. I cannot help you.
Yeah, I'm surprised our kids don't get more than they do. They are not afraid to just pile into it.
Yep.
It's funny. Well, because like our kids are all pretty close. I mean, at least our middle one. Because how old's Charlie?
Charlie's 7.
That's what I thought.
8 in January.
Yeah, and Colin's turning 9 in January, and then Connor's going to be 7 in December,
and Connor's Casey's going to be
Casey will be 4. But like I took them out, we realized
the top two,
the older boys. It was their first trip with me because Danny had stuff going on
by themselves. Yeah,
and I'm like,
see, because where we hunt out here, it's so. I mean, it's big country, and there are places where you're going to get a dog treat, and you're going to be like, I am not dragging a 6-year-old in there. That is just not going to happen. So, usually we have to time it so we can both go, but we've got these littles in tow, which asking grandma to watch kids so we can go hunting is not usually on the top.
2 in the morning.
Like, that doesn't usually work out. So, I mean, it's kind of sad how little our kids have hunted in comparison to
our kids have hunted very little with the dog. I wish it was more, but just with life, we have to prioritize our family and our life before the hunting.
And it just doesn't work out with this many kids in this country. Like if we had a good place that was, on a river bottom or something that we could take them coon hunting, that'd be different, but not out here, not in what we're hunting. No, the other night he took them for the first time by themselves, the older two, and he sends me a text at like 10:30 that night because I told him he had to be home early. We had somewhere to go.
It's been raining for a week, man. We got like one break in weather. I'm like, I am going hunting tonight if I drag them kids or not. Like,
So he
Yeah.
we
texted
got to
me,
go.
and he's like, the kids are asleep. Meet me at the door. I'm soaking wet so that I can pass them off to you. I need to take my clothes off before I come in the house. And I'm thinking, what did you take my children through? So he passes the 7-year-old to me, who's like half asleep. He wakes up a little. I said, and he sleeps like a rock. Like he is out when he's out. And so he's like, Mom. I said, hey, Connor, did you guys catch anything? And all I hear is garbage. So I said,
Straight garbage.
I said, what? He says, straight garbage.
Which he was lying. We did not catch garbage.
Over here in the corner. We did not catch garbage.
At least we couldn't prove it.
And so then I put him in bed, tuck him in bed, and all I know is straight garbage. And all of a sudden, from his bed, I hear, Mom. I said, yeah. He says, I had to do the tree scoot. I hate the tree scoot. I said, what? And he's like, the tree scoot. So we had to decompress this trip after Jason got changed from his soaking wet clothes.
I had to put new shavings in the dog houses.
Apparently, there was not straight garbage in the tree. Our 7-year-old is a liar.
You never made it to the tree.
I said, so what's this tree scoot thing? Well, it's been raining. It rained like 6 inches or so
It's
here in like the
ridiculous.
last couple. Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy, massive amounts of rain, flood watches. It's been crazy out here. And I said, well, what happened? He's like, well, they crossed the creek. I'm like, you took my kids across the creek after all this rain? He's like, well, they were on a tree. I'm like, that's the tree scoot.
Yeah.
See, what happened? Well, we went out. It was pretty cool if you want to hear the story, actually. Because it was a good parenting lesson, too. I'm sitting in the truck. We got there early. Connor wanted to go up. We figured we'd check roads, and we had that big storm, so we figured there's going to be trees down, and we'll do some road cutting ahead of time. And we're sitting there waiting for dark, and they're like, well, let's just go hunting now. I said, no, we're going to wait. If we move now and we disrupt the fox movement, that's going to cause a problem. Like, we might not get an opportunity that we would have if we're just patient.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and it's getting dark. And Colin says, well, what time? I said, I'm not giving you a time. We're going to go when I say it's right. We had just listened to Brent Reeves' podcast, and he said something about, like, the guy with the dogs is the captain. Did you learn nothing? When I tell you we're going. And about 30 seconds later, the dogs hit one out of the box sitting there parked. And I said, yeah, we're going to give it another 5-10 minutes, and we're going to roll, boys. So we get on up the road, and they burned one. I mean, instant, red hot, jumped the creek, treed within 200 yards.
Nice.
And which is great, except the creek rose pretty substantial amount, and luckily when our trees blow down, they're big ones, like big Doug firs.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to find a log to get them across. But the big problem is these fox know where the creek crossings are, and they crap in the middle of every one of them logs to go across it. Well, you can't walk across them, so I got one in front of me, I got one behind me, scoot across there, get over. Dogs pulled the tree, they heard us coming. We get back up there, and it's gone, but they take the outbound and run it again. And I'm like, oh, man, here we go. Now I got these kids in here. We got to go back across the creek. So that's where Connor learned he didn't like the tree scoot, because that creek was ripping.
Yeah, I bet.
Turns out, after the kids got back into the car, and then
We ran another one.
he ran another. Can't stop at one. Ran another one, and one of the younger dogs took it across the creek, and then looked back and decided that was really stupid.
He only crosses it 3 times a night. He doesn't like crossing it 4.
Hence where Jason got wet. He left the kids in the car.
So I get CPS call. They were 50 yards from me. I could see them.
They could hit the horn. Anyway, and had to go climb over there and rescue the dog.
Yeah.
I went swimming. So did a Walker dog. That was fun.
Is that the coon dog?
Yeah, that one I showed you pictures of at Oaks. He's heavy Hopkins cash bred Walker dog, crossed on some of this West Coast varmint dog stuff. And he's been doing great. He's probably right at about 2 years old now.
Okay.
But he's been really getting with it, and it's just that creek was ripping so bad, and he was by himself because he was trying to stick it out, and
Yeah.
you know how it is. Sometimes you just gotta go get them. I'll do it once. The next time, like you're coming across it on your own will. But for the kids, I asked them because they get Connor's pretty good. Colin will get pretty nervous in the woods because he knows there's stuff out there that could get you. I mean, that's a legit thing out here. There are lions, there are bears, there are tweakers, there are, like
Southern Oregon. There's a lot of homeless people hanging out everywhere.
So I asked them because in my mind, like they just crossed a raging creek in the dark. They went through 250 yards of some pretty serious elevation climb and brush and all this stuff. I said, well, how did you guys feel? Were you nervous? And they're like, no, man, we didn't even have time. We just had to go because I didn't give them a chance. I've had the benefit of watching my hunting partner Brandon Comby raise his kids, and I'm telling you, his son Cameron is going to be the best hunting partner a guy could ask for. That kid has gone hunting with his dad since he was in a backpack, and when we go, he just made him keep up all the time, and that's what I did with these kids. And I'll tell you, man, they come back 10 feet tall and bulletproof. You see it. It's very rewarding. Like, even though it was a subpar night with the dogs, that was a great hunt. We had an awesome time.
Mm-hmm.
We keep telling the kids that we're going to take them back there in the daylight so they can see what they did, because they wouldn't do it if they saw it in the day.
Yeah,
that's why I hunt at night. You'll walk into anything if you don't know what it is. You see it gets a little more apprehensive.
No, but you were saying about taking the kids into the big country. Like, that's why I waited till Charlie. He was it was last December, just shy of his 7th birthday, before I took him bear hunting, because I was like, I didn't want to have to pack him in and pack him out. I'm like, I want him big enough that he can, go. And then at the same point, what I did is I also didn't take dogs. I went with my buddy Wayne, and I was like, I'm not bringing dogs. I'm just bringing my son. Like, that way, if something happens,
that's smart.
And I don't have to go to that tree if,
right.
If it's too far, if it's too much, like, so.
I think you're kind of on the same page with us, that like it's this age, you're old enough to go, but also like you don't want to burn them.
You don't want to ruin them.
Like it's easy to ruin them real quick. And this is a lifestyle that we've chosen, and this is what we eat, sleep, drink, and literally work. Like this is everything for us. But they didn't choose this. Like they're just part of this, and so I don't want these kids to get burned out. We're playing a long game, not a short game,
Yeah. No,
you can drag them along at the age of 2 or 3 100 times, but you know what? When they hit 12, they're going to hate it if it wasn't a good experience.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah. And I've heard like Josh Michaelis has said it a bunch. He goes, I think I've burned my kids out. He goes, they like it, but he goes, they don't like it. They don't love it like I do.
Right.
They do it because it makes Dad happy to go with them, not because it's what they want to do. Yeah, I get that. And that's my big fear, is that we'll burn them out if we don't make every experience special right now.
Yeah.
So there's a fine balancing act, and it's hard. It's especially hard for the parent who stays home. So let me tell you, my kids do not think their mom can hunt. It's really insulting.
They don't know the days their mom drove around with a tracking box picking up stragglers while we were getting dogs off in some crap hole canyon.
Yep.
But yeah, they'll tell me, they're like, Mom, this is a GPS. I'm like, no kidding.
They did not.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Kids are rough.
Oh man.
We're gonna,
like I said, it's a long game. You got to play a long game with kids, not short game.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. But we're about to find out how tough my oldest is. He's gonna go on a pretty grueling. We're going on a 9-day trek. We're hunting 4 different states. Coon hunting, squirrel hunting, bear hunting.
But you're gonna mix it up, so it'll be a new adventure. So
yeah,
that's good.
So we're gonna be hunting a bunch of different places, and there's a lot of travel time. we're gonna hunt here, but then we have like, a half day drive to somewhere else. So,
That's awesome.
but
That'll be a great adventure.
he's gonna have quite a few different adventures.
What do you guys have out there? Buc-ee's? Stop at every one of those you can find. It'll be a great adventure.
I don't think they have them up there.
Do you not have them
You
up
have a
there?
Buc-ee's
I don't
up
have
there?
I don't have Buc-ee's where I'm at, but I will venture far enough west that I will get into Buc-ee's territory. So whether
We're
I will,
too far west. I want to go to a Buc-ee's.
I want to find a Buc-ee's.
I've never seen one. So
We'll
if we
have to
pass
meet
one,
up.
we are definitely stopping.
Yeah, you go take a selfie there. Make sure you tag us at Buc-ee's.
Sounds
Oh, that'll
good.
be fun, man. It's
Yeah.
different. Like, have you done like any kind of a long trip with him, like 3 days or more?
Like family vacation, but like never me and him, just solo, something like this. So it'll be
It's so
interesting.
fun to walk. Like ours, they go to the field trials and stuff, and they literally go feral after 3 days. But it's such a different. Like I get to see a different side of my kids when we're out doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool as a dad. I'm excited for you. You'll have a good time. You never forget the time with your kids.
Yeah. No, I mean, and my wife Anna was asking, she's like, "Are you sure you want him to go with you? Like, this is a big trip." Like, I'm like, "No, I really do. Like, this is not me just trying to make it easier on you or anything. Like, I really want him to go." I was like, "I think he'll have a blast." I'm like, and make memories that he'll remember, hopefully, for his entire life.
Hey, when your dad hands you the fishing pole, he knows darn good and well there's a 99% chance you're going to lose that fish. It doesn't stop him from handing it to you.
Yep.
You know when you take your kids, it is not going to be what it is if you're going.
Oh yeah.
But I guess that's a father's sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. This trip, it's just me, him, and a whole bunch of media equipment. So this is
You got a new film crew.
yeah, he's gonna be my backup cameraman. So
There you go.
recording podcasts, taking pictures. There's a slight, maybe a little greater than slight chance of a YouTube channel that's going to be popping up soon. So
That's awesome.
Please tell me that you guys are going to record episodes together.
yes, of course we are.
I love that. I always enjoy doing the ones with my kids.
So you're the one that inspired me a couple years ago to start that. So, but I won't keep you guys on here. I know you guys are busy. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me about the magazine and the book and kids. And,
Yep.
it's been fun. I know with raising mine in this life, and I've had fun watching you guys raise your little kids in kind of the same way. And, I'm excited to see, I don't want to wish their life away by any means, but I'm excited to see down the road, if they're going to stick with it, if they're not,
Yeah.
Yeah. Which ones we mess up and which ones we don't. That's what you're saying.
Who's going
No,
to need the counseling?
no, I'm saying like which ones become the diehard houndsmen and which ones are like, yeah, it's not my thing.
Fishing's nice.
Fishing is nice.
Like I said, right now it's pretty. I would tell you my oldest is going to be the houndsman and my youngest probably won't. But at the same point, that could easily change. They're like I said,
Yep.
7 and 4. So
If we're making predictions, I would say the two older boys will definitely be involved to some degree with a working animal.
That person's probably going to get a bird dog.
That one's going to be, I think Colin will probably end up with, either a bird dog or maybe even a beagle or something.
okay,
I think Connor, he will be the die hard, dive in the canyon, whatever it takes. Like you said, they're young. It's going to be interesting to watch the kids grow. And I'm sorry, these dogs are a great tool. You want to make a young boy, a young man, real quick.
yeah,
It's a fast track, man.
for sure.
Responsibility. Even though they don't hunt a lot, you ask Connor about feeding dogs while I'm gone. That kid takes that job serious. He is keeping kennels. He wants to do a good job, and he remembers. It's fun watching them. I just hope that they continue to grow, and at least, like we've always said, I don't care if my kids are houndsmen. I really, my success in life doesn't hinge on that.
Yeah.
it comes down to be an educated human, be a good human. You're going to be a voter in no time at all, and you need to have a respect for what we do. And,
Yep.
you know, I feel like if we just expose our kids to what we're doing, the light shines through.
Yeah.
So have fun on your trip, man.
I
Yeah.
I'm
appreciate it.
jealous.
I'm excited to hear how that goes.
Well, there should be lots of photographic, podcast, and video proof of it all. So, in time,
We want the bloopers reel.
in time, you guys will all see and hear about it.
Right on.
Well, thank you, sir.
So, well, thank you. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.